No, and I brought up with it's just too much trouble. I'll just talk about Svalbard and Norway. So, at any rate, guys, I've been doing a lot of art research since the 70s. Does everyone know where Spitsbergen and Svalbard is? So it's 80 north between Norway and Greenland. It's called the Norwegian archipelago, and it is a weird. Norway is the governing country for Svalbard, but you have no military due to the treaty in 1925. It turns out there's a lot of coal there, continental spreading, and I have actually, here in Ann Arbor, I do not let the grandkids touch these. These are fossils embedded in coal of plants. Well, this is 80 north. There isn't a bloody tree in the entire Svalbard. So how did it get there? Well, it got there a long time ago when the continental drift, exactly. So it's kind of cool, really interesting geology. So at any rate, I started going there in 1979 as part of a NASA, ONR, US government activity. My job was to give a shitload of money, pardon French, to the Norwegians so that they would fall in love with space, fall in love with ice research. So frankly, they would build a satellite receiving station at 80 north on Svalbard because our polar satellites did not have links for sending all the data home because we got really data rich in the end of the 70s. The satellites were too sophisticated at that point to, it wasn't just a TV camera in space. They were very complicated microwave satellites. So big data stream. So at any rate, we were doing sea ice research up there and flying airplanes out. And in the old days in Svalbard, there were 800 people and 900 ice bears, as they call them, polar bears. And particularly in the winter, if you tried to go from the hotel, which was really I don't know what it was called, Quonset hut dorm, to the mess tent, there were big gigantic signs, take a gun, look both ways, and in Norwegian, run like hell. And it's about 100 meters from one place to the other. And when I was young, it was crazy and all that kind of stuff. So now fast forward, Leanne and I went there in 2012, and it was much more sophisticated. They had taxis. There were 3 restaurants, not one restaurant. Kind of on any kind of beach on it. And they were really clever. Instead of the real picker shacks, after the Lillehammer Olympics, they just loaded up a bunch of the dorms, took them up on ships and unloaded them in Longyearbyen, the only city in Svalbard. City, 1,400 people. That's the city. And then we had pretty nice hotel at that point. Of course, I forgot that. Fast forward 10 years later. So now, and at that time, I want to take Leanne up the fjord and show her the walruses and abandoned Russian mining camps. There's 2 operational Russian camps up there. They lose all sorts of money, and you go, why the hell are the Russians still there? Politics, because they're allowed to under the 1925 treaty. And you run into the Russians, and they're really friendly up there because politics work down here but when it's 20 below, the hell with politics. Let's just be one. So it's fine. So at any rate, I couldn't take her on the fjords, totally frozen, and it was really, really rural at that point, and it was still solid Arctic, like I knew Arctic. So now I'm skiing in Colorado. My Norwegian buddy calls me on the phone, and he goes, "Well, we're having a 20-year reunion on this STAR conference in Svalbard. We need you to be the keynote speaker." I'm mostly retired, so Skippy, my evil twin, is about to blow off my good buddy Johnny and go, "No, busy, not really." So, and then the other friend goes, "What the hell?" So I go, "Sure, I'll do this." And so, long story short, I go up to do this conference first week in May. Now all of a sudden, there are 1,500 people in Svalbard, and it was at the university. So what they've done is they have now the University of the Arctic there. All the Norwegian universities have contributed, and they do wonderful field programs and sensitivity of students. I mean, you'd really like that in respect to Arctic specific science. And then I give this lecture to the student, getting all fired up, and it was fun. But at any rate, no ice in the fjord, totally for the last 5 years. Period. They're driving vessels in at will. Just crazy. The ice bears, as they call. Oh, incidentally, so there's 1,500 people, 3,800 snow machines, and 1,500 dog sledding dogs. It's a big tourist industry. And yeah, and then I end up going dog sledding with in '87. How I get sucked in. Werner Elk was my German professor friend that I've known forever. Boom! We go together. We reminisce about the old days. Okay. Luckily, I had a flask in my pocket. That's what's But anyway, you're supposed to train on. This is a 4-hour thing. You're running, you're jumping on the sled, you're encouraging the little dogs to do the thing. But they're running fast, faster than I really want to go. So then we take breaks. And I go, "Werner, you're ready to take over." "Well, I'm enjoying the vistas. You are doing such a good job driving the she sled. Why don't I just stay in my little fur covered seat on the front of the sled?" So I'm going, "I thank you." Read in between the legs. So at the end of this, I'm going, "This is a lot of guts." So here, if you're going dog sledding, get a good partner that's going to do their fair share, not this 4 hours of mush, mush, mush in Norwegian. So at any rate, we had a great time. But the thing that I loved best was after my lecture, they're taking me out to dinner, and it's kind of 12:30, 1 o'clock in the morning. But you know, the sun isn't setting, so it's light out, and we're at the only restaurants that bar that's open at that point, and the hotel is about 1.5 kilometers away, so 1,500 meters times 3 guys. So a walk, but not too bad. And I'm with my buddy Yanni, but I'm remembering ice bears and safety. So I asked the chancellor, I go, "Okay, guys, Yanni and I have to walk. We're not the fastest boys in the world anymore. Are we going to be okay?" because like our dinosaur guy, they said, "You want a gun?" I go, "No, I don't really want a gun to carry around to the students and lecture, you know, with the gun in my pocket." So at any rate, the chancellor whips out his smartphone and pops up a map of all of the 14 ice bears, i.e. polar bears, that are within a 4-mile radius of us. And then we make a joke because, yeah, the closest one was 1.2 miles. Sorry, it's in English and metric. But, you know, and the chancellor looks at Yanni and I go, "Well, even you boys can outrun that bear." So, but technology. So there we go. Oh, first of all, can I have a copy of that? No, but that program is literally top secret for only the academics that are taking the students for safety, the mayor and the 3 police officers up there. They will not give it to anybody else, because if it gets out, you know what people are going to do. They're going to chase the ice bears. Why would the picture?
Oh, it's something with the ice bear?
Yeah, right. And so they wouldn't share that. But then I'm going, I don't know if I was happy sad. I go, okay, I'm gonna make it back and live another day. But at the same time, I'm going, this technology, I don't know. I'd rather run like hell from one shed to the other like I did 20 years ago. And I really don't want to know that every ice bear in near Longyear bin is tracked, you know, to a meter accuracy. But at any rate, that was interesting part. And the other thing you may or may not know is have you ever heard of the seed bank? The seed bank is a international activity. What they did is there were big coal tunnels 4 kilometers down underneath the ice. So what they've done is there are 58,000 individual sets of all the seeds that 154 countries have determined are critical if we try to blow each other up. They think due to the wind patterns and everything else, and the fact that it's 4 kilometers down, that these seeds will survive a quote nuclear event. And so now, 20 years ago, and Leanne was with me, or 10 years ago when she was here, she got to go into the wall, but now you're worried about security. You can only go to the top, take a look at it. But, it's an interesting evolution of how humanity has actually moved in, and they're quite happy now, you know, living quote pseudo-normal lives in Swallowwater at 80 North. But also in 10 years, climate change, guys, it's totally different out there. And the glaciers have receded. Before, you'd be in town and the terminal moraine of the glacier was it's right at the hotel. Now it's like a couple of kilometers away. Go by snow machine and bus to see. Anyway, that was my impressions. At some point when we're meeting again, I'll put together a coherent, you know, limited 20-person picture slides of it. I mean, it's still beautiful, guys. It's gorgeous, but it's totally different. Yeah. Question?